Guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm coming at you with another one of my top 5 series updated. So after I did my top 5 foundations updated video last year, so not the last one I did because that was, I believe, last month, I did my top 5 concealers. So it's almost been a year. I'm looking at my video right now and it was published on July 16th, 2019. So we're right at a year. Some things have changed, some haven't. My favorites last year were First Aid Beauty, Josie Maran, Ilia, L'Oreal, and the YSL Chanel combo. So I believe there are 2 of those still in my top 5 favorites. I still love all of those. Unless I have come back on and said I don't like something anymore, I still like it. These are just my favorites. So a couple of the ones that were in that favorites video. Oh, let me preface by saying, if you're new to my channel or you haven't seen any of my videos, I'm 39 years old. I don't typically have super dry under eyes. Sometimes if I have a heavy dose of Retin-A or I'm peeling or something from that, sometimes I will actually peel under my eyes even though I don't put my Retin-A under there. It just travels that direction. But most of the time I just have normal under eyes, but I do suffer from fine lines and wrinkles. So I want to make sure I get something that's not going to crease and sink into those, but I also get really bad, I call them fish gills, but they're those like vertical lines right on the inner corner of your eyes because of the expressions that I make. And so I try to find concealers that don't exacerbate that because it happens quite often on me. So the 2 that were talked about last video that are still in my favorites are the First Aid Beauty Hello Fab Bendy Avocado Concealer. I've done a whole review video on this probably 2 years ago now. I will link it in a card. I have all of the colors, but the color that I use on myself the most is number 3. And I can also use number 2. But number 3 has a really nice peachy undertone to it, which helps with my darkness because I also use a corrector every single day underneath the concealer. So that's another thing that I look for, is something that's going to mix well with products underneath of it. But this one, having that peachy undertone, just goes to help cover that darkness even more. So that is the First Aid Beauty. This one is the least amount of coverage of all the ones that I'm going to talk about, but I'm okay with that. I would rather sacrifice coverage than deal with cakiness and crinkling and creasing and all the other bad stuff that we have to deal with when it comes to concealers. I would rather, some of my darkness just show through, honestly. So that's the lightest coverage one, but it wears wonderfully. And then another one that I talked about is the Josie Maran Vibrancy Concealer. I feel like this has been in my last 2 favorites videos, maybe even 3 for concealers, and it's just good. It's creamier than the First Aid Beauty. I'm in the color Light here. It's a little bit creamier, just a tad bit thicker, but it also gives more coverage. However, I think because it does have argan oil in the formula, it makes it pretty much glide and blend in beautifully, and it really helps it moisturize throughout the day versus getting drier as you wear it, which has happened with many concealers and my under eyes. So again, it's just been a long time staple. I've gone through a couple of 2. I think this is probably my 3rd one. And for me to go through an entire concealer says a lot because I have a ton in my collection, but I just tend to reach for the same ones over and over again. And there's the ones I'm talking about today. The next one I'm going to talk about is, again, a little bit more of a fuller coverage. It's probably not the fullest coverage I'm going to talk about, but it's pretty full coverage. And it's the Jouer Essential High Coverage Liquid Concealer. Creaseless, soft matte, hyaluronic acid. So it comes like this. It's a little bit of a bigger tube. However, it does have less product than these 2. So not by much, maybe like a milliliter less, but it is less product. It's just a bulkier tube. I am in the color Toast, and this one does have a little bit of a larger doe foot, but this one also has a peachier undertone to it, which again, it just works well with my dark circles. This one, when I first bought it, I think I used it for like a month straight and I didn't use anything else. I know I talked about it in my favorites, that whatever month I bought it, I probably talked about it in my favorites a couple of times. I think the hyaluronic acid in here really helps keep my under eyes moisturized while keeping the creasing at bay. But it also provides the coverage that I like in the case that my darkness is just too much. So if you are someone who has dry under eyes, but they've been really scared to wear a fuller coverage concealer, or they haven't been able to find one that they like, I think you will like this one because it just has never let me down. Oh, and by the way, I have 6. Y'all know I rarely can keep it to 5. So this one is one that I did not like when I first got it. In fact, I think I was kind of just indifferent to it. I felt like everybody was doing reviews on it, acting like it was the best thing that had ever hit the concealer market. And I was just like, it's okay. And then I kind of put it into the back of my drawer, took it back out, a few months later after all the hoopla had died down. And I was like, I started using it again. I'm like, oh, you know what? I actually like this. And it's the Hourglass Vanish Fluid Concealer. Now this one is in the color Apricot. I remember talking about it saying that I was going to get a completely different color online. And I rarely go in store to shop. And I think this was a case that I had like a gift card or something. So I was just in the store checking things out because I had to be in that area anyways. And I looked at the color that I thought I was going to purchase online, and it was so off, like way lighter than I thought it was going to be. So I'm glad that I picked this out in stores. I do think that's something that you're going to have to be cognizant about, at least in my experience. But this, again, is the color Apricot, and it's a very creamy concealer, but it's not super thick and too emollient. It's just like the perfect consistency. And really, it always works for me. So this is that case where I was like, it's okay it's good. It's good. I really like this one. Okay, 2 more, and I am gonna save kind of my favorite for last. This next one, y'all have heard me talk about a lot, and it's the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover Concealer. There's a couple reasons that I love this. I'm trying to see how much is in it. It's got a lot of product. It's got almost twice the amount of product as the other ones that I've been talking about, and it's drugstore, so it's gonna be more affordable anyways. But when you look at the amount of product, it's even better. I'm in the color M400 Warm Nude. Now, again, a couple reasons I like this. I love the color. It's a big doe foot applicator. That's the color right there. Again, a more peachier undertone. I do like to go for anything that says it has a peach in the description of the color, because again, it just helps to add more coverage for that darkness that I carry around every single day of my life. And I also like this because the coverage is really nice, but it is not cakey at all. It's more of a thin consistency actually, but it provides a good amount of coverage. And so this is the one that I go for a lot in the summer because again, I like the color. I don't like to be super bright under my eyes. But I talked about like my go-to look when I was moving with the Glow Skin Primer and stuff on Instagram, and this is the concealer that I used. So I used that Glow Skin Tinted Primer, the Color Science 3-in-1 Corrector. I'm just about through this. This is the mascara, and that was my look. And another reason I like this because I feel like it works. This one and the one I'm going to talk about next works really good on the face, and it can almost work as a foundation. So if I did just want to wear like a really light base, I could still cover up my redness with this, and it would look really nice and wear really nice on the face. If you have an issue where you can't seem to find a concealer that works well under your eyes as well as on your face, whether it be to cover redness or blemishes, this is a good one for sure. I'm gonna save the best for last because this is quite honestly, it's my favorite concealer. It's what I have on today. You'll probably know what I'm gonna talk about. It's hands and above a different color than the CoverGirl. It's crazy how many different colors I can wear under my eyes and have it work. This is the Kosas Revealer Concealer. And I love everything about this concealer. Again, it's what I have under my eyes today. This is the color number 3. So it does have more of a yellow undertone. It really serves to brighten my under eyes, which I don't typically go for, but it brightens it in a good way and not in an overly dramatic way. This is a very, creamy. I don't even want to say emollient because a lot of times people take emollient in a negative way, but I don't in this case. It is a very emollient concealer. It is very easy to blend out. It is super hydrating, And I never have issues with this concealer, ever. I have a few colors. They actually sent me 3, and then I bought number 5. Let me get that real quick. So that right there is number 5. And I use this one more on my face because this is another one that works so well on the face. So again, I will use something very sheer as a base, and I will just touch up a little bit where my redness tends to peek out the most, blend it out, and I'm good to go. I just can't talk enough about this. I love it. I have an entire review on just this concealer. I will again put the card up. It's one that I just highly recommend. And again, when I travel and stuff, it's all I take because I know it's gonna work. I don't have to question it. It's no matter what the temperature is, whether it be super cold or super hot, no matter what the environment is, this is going to work under my eyes. And I just absolutely love it. So there you go. Those are my top 5 concealers. I will also link and list down below my 3 favorite correctors that I recently talked about in a video, as well as my favorite under eye setting powder. You can find all of that information down in the description box below. Thank y'all so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. I hope you are all staying safe and sane and healthy, and that most of all, you go out and have a very blessed day.